The next and final of our middle temperatures that we're going to look at in this course is the marine west coast climate. And it's going to be shown in this particular notation as CFB or CFC. The C, once again, middle temperature, so that means the coldest average month temperature is somewhere between 65 and 32 degrees. The F means we're going to have a full year pattern of precipitation. So it's different than what we saw in the Mediterranean where there's that summer dry period. In this case, the B and the C, what differentiates this or what distinguishes a marine west coast climate from a humid subtropical climate is the fact that the marine west coast has a cooler summer or just essentially a shorter summer. So in other words, the humid subtropical climates, hot summers, marine west coast climates, more comfortable, cooler summers, more mild, nothing like you would see there in the American Southeast. Where do we find the marine west coast climate? The biggest area we find it is in Northern Europe. And so once again, we're going to find these going to be poleward of the Mediterranean climate regions. And so in the case of the Northern Hemisphere, what do I mean by poleward? I mean north of. So here we have the Mediterranean climate, Spain, France, and I've already mentioned that. Well, poleward or to the north of it, you find that green area, which corresponds to the marine west coast climate. That's the biggest area of marine west coast, and that's mostly because there's really no mountain barriers to prevent more of an area being a marine west coast, like you see over here in the American Northwest. And so we've got the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, much of western Washington, western Oregon, parts of northern and western California, very much year-round precipitation patterns that you'd find in that particular area. Now, if the Rocky Mountains weren't there, you'd find more of a marine west coast climate in this particular area, but then the mountains come in and really condense the size of the marine west coast climate. We also see it to a certain extent here in southern Chile, the marine west coast climate. So once again, going to be poleward, or in this case, south of the Mediterranean climate, since we are in the southern hemisphere. A little bit here in southern Africa. This is more because of actually orographic precipitation at work. And this is kind of a funky deal where you actually see a little bit of a marine west coast climate in the Appalachians, mostly just because of the orographic characteristics and the altitude. Just makes it kind of equal to being the formula required to be a CFB, CFC climate. So essentially the altitude helps to lower the temperature, provide a cool enough summer to be classified, but also the year-round precipitation from orographic also explains why there's a little sliver of a marine west coast climate in the Appalachians. We also see New Zealand and the little island of Tasmania are also areas where we see marine west coast climate. Once again, this is more kind of a function of them being stuck out in the middle of an ocean, and the predominant wind patterns